The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. This is one of my favorite quotes from Anthony Robbins. We're going to talk about it on today's podcast.
Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We believe in the magic of ballroom dance. It has taught us how to improve our bodies, challenge our minds, and inspire our souls. And in return, I want to share those lessons with the world. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. I'm so excited that you joined me today. And as I said in the intro, we're going to talk a little bit about communication. I love that quote by Anthony Robbins, and it's always been something that kind of surprised me, I think, early on when I was young and heard it. But I do want to point out that years and years ago, it was a strange thing when people would hear that maybe you communicated with yourself or talked to yourself. In fact, there are still people today that believe that it's weird that you're talking to yourself. What I propose is that we are always talking to ourselves. We're always saying something inside our head, and without being able to talk to ourselves and be able to communicate with ourselves, we're actually dead. Yeah, I know that sounds a little bit harsh or a little bit straightforward, but the truth of the matter is simple. You have to communicate with yourself. And this is happening on multiple levels. Obviously, consciously, we're talking to ourselves all the time. And subconsciously, it's happening in the background. And maybe not even with language per se, but I do believe that our language manipulates how we interact with ourselves and how we interact with our body. You can learn to manipulate your breathing. All you have to do is start to hold your breath, and basically you've told yourself that you're going to slow down your breathing or stop your breathing, and eventually the autonomic system that we have built in for preservation of life will kick in. If you hold your breath too long, it'll knock you out. You'll just pass out and start to breathe again. At least that's the hope of the body and the mind. And so we have lots of communication systems that are built into our mind and our body, and our communication system that we use and utilize in terms of talking to ourselves is our language. If we use poor language, then poor things are going to happen. This is simple. This is a really simple way to understand it. We talk to ourselves all the time. And so I hope that's something that you've heard before, something that you can maybe listen to and say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think there was a time and maybe even an era of human growth that if you were to say you talk to yourself, people would say you're crazy. Or they would outright say, oh, well, he's crazy. He must be talking to himself. This is something that we don't want to maybe subscribe to anymore. We talk to ourselves all the time. And the quality of that language that we use to talk to ourselves is massively important. If you're using negatives all the time, if you are constantly seeing the world as a horrible place or a bad place, those things manipulate how it is that you interact with the world, with your model of the world. And so we have to look at how we're speaking, not only to ourselves, also to other people. There've been plenty of studies scientifically that show that our mind doesn't necessarily hear the negatives. And this is huge, right? Because if we look at something that is said to us that maybe somebody says, don't do this. So if they say, don't drink that drink. There was a famous Bill Cosby sketch years and years ago about him telling his daughter not to drink his drink. But the thing is that in order to understand a no or a don't, what we have to do is we have to actually acknowledge the do. We have to acknowledge the thing that we aren't supposed to do. So in that example, if Bill Cosby said to his daughter, don't drink my drink, the first thing that has to be done is the drink has to be acknowledged. And so you have to look at that drink and you have to say, okay, I'm not going to drink that drink, or I'm going to drink that drink. And how does that work? Well, the only reason somebody would then not drink that drink, say the little girl or the kid in this scenario, is because there was a consequence attached. In which case, there has to be language that is communicated to ourselves saying, yeah, if I drink that, I'll get a spanking, or if I drink that, I'll get in trouble, or if I drink that, there's some sort of consequence that comes along with that. And so understand this, as you look at things from the positive, we address it, we go after that thing in a positive way. But as you look at things in a negative, you have to actually analyze and figure out what the consequence of that thing is, and then choose whether or not you're going to do it. Our communication to ourselves is massively important. And along with that, our communication with other people is massively important. So you have to understand that as you're moving through your daily life, if you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I hate this day, I don't want to get up, I don't want to do anything I have to do today, then getting out of bed is going to be seriously challenging. But if you wake up in the morning and some of your first thoughts are, I can't wait to take this day on, I can't wait to see what lies in store for me today and how I can handle it, that's going to be a lot better to get up and out of bed with than already deciding you hate the day. So what are some things you can do specifically? Let's take that scenario, for example. What if right before you went to bed, you thought of the things that you were going to do the next day, and you thought about the positive side of those things? Now, I'm not saying to pretend and make things positive that aren't, but sometimes you can look at a scenario, something that's maybe potentially negative going on in your world, and look at that scenario and go, okay, what can I do to see the positive light in this? That way I can manage my language, manage my communication to myself, and understand how to move forward in the best light possible. You see, we're here to experience all sorts of different emotions, all sorts of different things in our world. And as we experience them, we are in charge of making a decision about how we feel about those things. And that comes with great language to ourselves as well. You see, there are still people out there, and maybe you're one of them, that don't believe that we do our emotions. But we do. We do our emotions. We decide what things mean. Every second, every minute of the day, we decide what things mean. We have to be proactive and not reactive. And this is huge as we move forward. We don't want to just be reacting to scenarios and situations. We want to decide how we want to react to those situations. And in order to do this, we have to have great communication to ourselves, to those around us, and it will influence and change your life in a massively positive way. So think about it. As you go through your day today, think about how you're communicating to yourself. Think about how you're communicating to other people, and start to change your language to the positive a little bit more. And you don't have to do the whole thing all at once. You can do it little pieces at a time, but try to catch yourself and see if you can talk from the positive. Try to say things without saying don't or no or not that or not this or don't do this or don't do that. Try to change your language a little bit and find a positive way to say what it is that you're going after. And you might find that it'll start to change the way you talk to yourself as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I look forward to hearing from you. Please go on to iTunes and let us know wherever you listen to your podcasts, and give us a review. And let me know that you're enjoying the podcast. It really helps to know that there's people that are really loving what we're producing. My team works hard to get these out to you every week, and we're excited to share with you every week. So let us know that you're loving it. If you have any questions, please send them our way. And of course, if you know anybody that this podcast would be great for, please share it with them. Share the links. Each of the different platforms like iTunes, Google Podcast, Podbean. All of them have different ways to share. So if you have a way to share it, please share it with somebody you think might benefit from this message, and let's change the world together. Hope you have a great day, and thanks for listening to our podcast today. We'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Want more Magic for Life? If so, then reserve your copy of my new book. Get your copy at everyminutebook.com. Inside this book, you'll find the secrets to attaining the next level of performance in anything you do. Learn the secrets behind emotional mastery that'll start you on your new journey of being a lifer. Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or an artist, this book will change your life forever. Get your copy reserved today.